Dear student, welcome back to the next lecture. Today we will discuss the international practices of ancillary services. In this, will discuss some countries, what are the technical and economic aspect of ancillary service of the market for England and Wales, Nordic countries, California. Two important ancillary services, voltage control and frequency regulation, are here. We will discuss. England and Wales. The transmission grid of England and Wales is operated by National Grid Company (NGC), which is also responsible for managing ancillary services. The cost associated with the provision of ancillary services are required from the consumers through the uplift in transmission payment mechanism. The voltage control. The provision of this service is required from all the generation unit with a capacity over 30 megawatt. Voltage must be kept within the range of V nominal plus minus 10% for 400, 275 and 132 kilowatt network, and the power factor between 0.85 capacitive and 0.95 inductive. The main cost associated with this service correspond to the capacity and operation. For the frequency control, the system operator is required to keep the frequency between 49.5 and 50.5 Hz. In the case of a contingency, the frequency is allowed to drop under 49.5 Hz, but not more than 1 minute. The supply of primary frequency regulation is mandatory for all the generation with an installed capacity of over 50 megawatt, which must provide the service continuous time. Generator are set up for a drop of 3 to 5%. The Nordic countries, ancillary services are traded in a real-time market managed by the transmission system operator. The cost associated with the ancillary services are directly transferred to the users through the transmission payment. The voltage control. The local provision of voltage control and reactive power is mandatory for all the system generators. A response time of 5 seconds is required and the service must be supported for the period that is needed. The cost associated with the service are low since the provision is in charge of the hydraulic generators and the transaction mechanism correspond to annual contract law at a fixed price. The supplier receive an operational payment only for the quantity that exceed the mandatory range, and the consumer payment is incorporated in the transmission tariff. For the frequency control, the system frequency is required to within the range of 49.5 and 50.5 Hz. The service of primary frequency regulation must be provided within 30 seconds after being requested by the system operator and must be supported for the period that is needed. The required quantity is locally calculated in every country. This is an obligatory service for all the generation units where they are required to keep a true between 2 to and 5%. California and USA. After the power market crisis of 2001, the Californian ISO redesigned its electrical energy market. It then introduced the concept of available capacity, whose objective is to allow the ISO to verify in advance the availability of enough resources to satisfy the customer load as well as the reserves. In the new market structure, the energy market, the ancillary service market, and the congestion management market are jointly optimized. The voltage control and frequency control. The voltage control in the California system, the ISO procures reactive power support service on long-term contract from reliable must-run generating units. The actual short-term requirement is determined on a day-ahead basis after the real power market is settled and the energy demand and schedule are known. For the frequency control, primary frequency regulation and secondary frequency regulation are not mandatory services. There exists up, down, and service regulation. The cost associated with its service correspond to capital operation, fuel, and reduced efficiency cost. For secondary frequency regulation, the service must be available within in 10 minutes and should be supported for at least 2 hours. For other countries, just like New York, USA, Australia, you can also refer from internet and prepare a short note for the international practices of ancillary services. Thank you.